Hello, welcome back, everybody, to Yanks of the Cop. We're here for the post-match reaction. 2-0 Liverpool victory over the blue shit in Chelsea. I'm your host, Steven. I was always joined by my brother, Andrew, and Wahomie, and today we have a special guest. You can find him at EL_Mansfield on Twitter. His Alex Mansfield. Alex, thank you so much for coming on, man. Thanks for coming on. What'd you think of the performance from the lads?
Yeah, no, it's wonderful, man. It's a nice way to cap an unexpectedly calm, cool day. It was a very, I like to use the word professional performance. Might not have been the flashiest, might not have been, the 17, 18 shades of Liverpool that so many people seem to be clamoring for, but convincing for me nonetheless, and a really, really good way to avoid a potential early banana skin. So I have no complaints on my end, man.
No, I mean, you said it all right there. I went bold, thought it was going to be a 4-1 victory myself. I'll definitely take the 2-0, especially after the red card. Definitely could have been. We had the chances, but, Andrew, why don't we kick it off with you? Just overall, what were your thoughts going in? What did you think of how the boys played today?
I thought they played fantastic. I mean, I think they checked all the boxes for us, especially in the pre-match. We said that we wanted to see Sadio Mane score. We saw that. We said we wanted to see a solid defensive performance. We saw that. And we said we wanted to see Thiago Alcantara.
Oh, yeah.
That too. So,
damn fucking
checked
right.
3 boxes for me, man. And we got the W, 3 points. I'm excited. I'm really happy.
Got to be buzzing, right? But, well, homie, what did you think out in London? How did everything go for us?
Yeah, I felt like it was a good win. I said before the game that all that matters is 3 points at this stage of the season. It doesn't matter how we do it. Just need to get it win. And I was torn between a 2-1 and a 2-0. I mean, I thought, when they had the penalty that they were going to score, I thought Werner's going to take it. He's normally got a good penalty record. But I think overall, yeah, it was a good second half performance, I think. First half we controlled, but I think the second half performance was good. And I think it bodes well the fact that we can win without Henderson. Because normally in the past, we wouldn't have won that. We wouldn't win a big game like that without Henderson. Because he's been so crucial. And I liked the fact that Thiago came on and we were still able to get a big win. So I showed that for me showed like good depth and actually a changing point from previous seasons.
Definitely had a red card too.
Yeah, I mean, the red card definitely changed the game. I mean, when I watched the first half, I was so pleased with everything I was seeing from us. I mean, I wrote a blog before the pregame, and one of the things I was looking at was wanted to see a fire under the midfield's ass. Thiago came in, who's going to be the guy that gets bumped out? And no one wants to be that guy. And I was absolutely thrilled with the performance of Henderson, Keita, and Wijnaldum in the first half. I know we did not have a ton of chances. I think it was about 35 minutes in, and there was only one shot on target for both teams. But that's what happens sometimes when you play under the Big Six team. No one wants to be the team that makes the mistake. And I thought both teams, especially in the first half, kept their composure and kept their discipline really well, which made it hard for either team to break anyone down. But one of the things that we were talking about as a podcast and a YouTube page coming into this game was who's going to start at center back. And I think I can speak with everyone here. We're pretty surprised to hear that Matip has a pretty significant injury and Gomez had a little bit of a knock, but you guys got to be thrilled with Fabinho's performance today. I mean, I think he still has Werner in his back pocket. Am I right?
Yeah. I mean, and that's, the 2 games of note that he started, this one and obviously the Champions League home leg against Bayern. And he effectively shut down 2 of Europe's, most prolific strikers. Obviously, Werner's in a different situation now than Lewandowski was then. But it's one of the things I think people forget is regardless of his position, Fabinho is just so attuned at sniffing out danger. It doesn't matter where he is on the pitch. And that's one of those things that I think, what sets him apart for me is he doesn't have the physical gifts that a lot of, whether it's midfielders or in this case, center backs have. Everybody's concern was he doesn't have Gomez's recovery pace. How on earth are we going to hold a high line against Chelsea with Werner? And it makes you realize that if you can think the game that progressively and that astutely, you don't need the physical gifts. And sometimes maybe Gomez is a little bit too reliant on him, young as he is, but just an absolute masterclass in smart, savvy defending. And, I'm sure there's going to be somebody out there on Twitter who's going to write this off as a one-off. I won't name any names, but yeah, I mean, just the guy's piling on already really valuable stock for me.
Yeah, I don't think any of us are surprised that that Matip or Gomez picked up an injury. Gomez I don't think will be very long lived. I think it should be pretty quick recovery. But Fabinho was just absolutely immense in there today. I think he was my man of the match for sure. I think he got beat once, and that was in the first 2 minutes of the game. Warner kind of just cut in on him and didn't go anywhere. But after that, he just won every single duel pretty much for the most part. His passing, I think, was 90% plus at least. He was just fantastic back there. And I'm just curious what you guys think, if we should now still sign a fourth center back. Do we have to? Do we, now that he's there, with Thiago as well, is it necessary?
Well, what do you think?
For me, I think it's necessary because I think that because Fabinho was outstanding today, but I think we miss it from midfield. We miss his passing from midfield. Like he's the only one of the few midfielders we have that's able to kind of bring the ball forward and do like the passes we saw when he did to Mane against Man United, And I think and all his passes are always forward passes. So I think we missed his progressiveness in midfield. And I think you're taking out the best, probably the top 2 DMs, I'd say, in Europe, out of his natural position. So I think for the time being, he's okay for the odd game. But I wouldn't want Fabinho there, like long-term wise, like 10, 20 games, a centre-back. Because I think you miss it in from midfield. And then I think, like, Gomez always has an impact injury every year. Since he's been at Liverpool, he's always had one that takes him out for quite a while. So he's going to have that happen again. Matip, it's always been made of glass. Talented, but always made of glass. So I feel like one injury to Fabinho, then what we're doing, playing Henderson at left centre-back, or we're putting Ronaldo back there. So I feel a new centre-back has to be bought. It's not worth the risk. We don't want to do a Man City where we end up having to play makeshift centre-back pairings, and then it comes back to bite us in the butt. Because there'll be one day where Fabinho gets caught out, not because he's not been good at centre-back, but because everyone has a day, and you come across one player who just manages to get you on that day, and then people will be up and raw saying, Fabinho shouldn't be there. So I just think, like, it's better to get a centre-back that just can cover. Doesn't mean I'll drop Fabinho straight away, but just something that can cover and allow us to have that blanket, and then we've got that centre-back.
Yeah, but homie, we've been linked with Ozan Kabak, and he just let in 8 goals. Just playing devil's advocate here, but do you think
you can't bring that up as a topic because Van Dijk, back into December 2018, conceded 6 goals against us when we beat Southampton 6-1. Alisson conceded 5 goals. Kabak's one player at 20. He was He won his young player of the season the year before. So you can't really hold that against him because he's not the only one in defence. So that's not a really good argument to say he conceded 8 goals for me. Because like I said, otherwise we might not have won by Dijk then when he did 6 against him.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's a system, and I think that's the beauty of what Klopp has built is, to a certain extent, there is a lot of plug and play here. It's not to say that anybody can just be dropped in because the expectations, the demands on this side are so high. That being said, my biggest concern with Fabinho as a 4th choice, especially with Matip on the shelf now, is it doesn't give us anybody outside of Van Dijk who really possesses a dominant aerial threat. More on the defensive side than the offensive side. And that's the thing that kind of the Premier League's known for, right? That's where him and Matip Van Dijk and Matip as a pairing are so strong against the Burnleys, against, you look at the performance they put in against Sebastian Aller at West Ham last year, where Aller was miles ahead of anyone else in the Bundesliga in aerial win rate. And he was supposed to be West Ham's outball, and they just pocketed him. And it's not Gomez's strong suit. So, even though Gomez went through last season with, I think, maybe 1 knock, but managed to stay healthy the bulk of the season, it's still great to have Matip as that backup option, because we know that we're going to see a lot of that, either the direct threat or the set piece threat in the Premier League. And Fabinho, he's not a small guy, but aerial prowess is not his thing. And so that's my biggest concern. And, go back to Kabak. He's one of the only guys in Europe who can hold a light to Van Dijk's aerial duel figures. He's an absolute monster. And I mean, there's a lot more to his game there. There'd be plenty to refine as well. But that would be my biggest concern, given, that was the undoing of this Liverpool side for so many years, is we could dominate possession, and it was like 1 chance, 1 goal, very often off a set piece. And while Van Dijk has remedied a lot of that, he's only one guy. And so, yeah, I'm definitely of the mind that if we can bring someone in, I would prefer to do it. If we absolutely had to, if we were coming up against a side like a Burnley, do I think somebody like Billy Cometio could maybe do a job? Possibly. I mean, I think that the aerial prowess for him, I don't mind that he's still a teenager. Not a lot of grown ass men are going to be able to physically dominate him, but it's still an area of concern for me.
No, and I completely agree because Billy, I think Billy physically is Billy the Kid. I mean, he looks great, right? Especially with his new bald head. I fucking love it. Freaking loving that thing. But the problem is like you said, look at our situation that we're in right now. We have 2 games. We have another 2 games coming up this week, Lincoln City and Arsenal. And we're going to be relying on Van Dijk now to play in both of those games no matter what. And I love Van Dijk, and one of the things I like about him is how durable he is, but as the years add up and as he keeps playing more and more games, we need to give him some spells. And because if he ever goes down, then we're majorly fucked. And so now this week we're pretty much looking like we're going to have to play Fabinho and Van Dijk now at center back for both of these games. We need to have that extra flexibility now, especially with Hendo down. We're really going to need Fabinho more so in the midfield. I mean, I know Thiago is going to solve a lot of problems, but again, I think we need the 4th guy. I think Kabak would be perfect because, like you said, his stature, his aerial ability is amazing, but he's still really raw. So he could really, really benefit from just learning from Klopp, playing with the first team all the time and just soaking all of that knowledge in and not expected to make a huge impact outside of the cup game. So as awesome as Fabinho was, we definitely need to adjust that. But let's get to the other injury. Henderson, I thought he played a great first half. It's clear that his leadership is so massive on the field. But we did respond well when he came out. Have you guys heard any more about the tightness in his leg? Should we expect him out weeks, or what do you guys think?
I heard that it was his thigh or his quad. So I mean, I don't know. I don't think it was too serious. I think it was more of a precaution. He said that he had felt like a little something, so he didn't want to push it, and that's why we saw Thiago ultimately. But this just goes to show how important the Thiago signing is, because Henderson is getting up there in age. These injuries are going to become more consistent, I think, over the long term. So we need a guy that can push the tempo, control the tempo, and ultimately make those diagonal passes that we saw so often today, while also playing pretty well defensively. So ultimately, I don't think it's too serious for Henderson, but if it is, then I'm not too worried about it because we have a guy who can control the midfield in Thiago.
Well, Klopp said in his post-match that it's not something serious they're worried about.
Yeah.
So he might miss Lincoln, but I think he'd be fine for Arsenal.
Yeah,
I
I
wouldn't
think
expect many people to play for Lincoln, though. I wouldn't expect Van Dijk to play. I would expect like Vanderberg to play and Billy to play. So, I mean, I don't know what's going on with that match. I mean, it's the Carabao Cup, right? So, who cares?
Yeah. Well, and I think it might well mean holding on to some of the potential outgoings for just a little bit longer, just as kind of a buffer midweek. Maybe stick the likes of Grujic in midfield instead of. I don't know if Fabinho was planning to play there anyway. But the likes of him, Nat Phillips, those guys, maybe keeping them around just a little bit longer to try to bridge that gap. But yeah, I mean, my concern with Henderson and that injury is he's barely had a preseason as is. So it's not like he got injured at full fitness. He's still building fitness, and then it's a potential setback. So he's still going to have to be slowly integrated back into the lineup. And this season, the way this is truncated is just absurd. I never wish this, but kind of my inner Pep Guardiola says, hopefully this nags him just enough that he can take the next international break and, basically skirt his England duty and come back and properly rehab, maybe get on an individualized fitness plan. So at the other side of that, he's a little bit closer. But yeah, it's just especially soft tissue injuries with how fast and furious the fixtures are this season.
When is the next international break?
I think it's only a couple weeks out. I thought I heard that somewhere. I could be totally wrong on that.
Matip was probably going to be expected back after the international break.
Okay. Yeah,
so I think the next break wraps up in like a month, so I think it's about 3 weeks out or 2 weeks out, something like that.
Yeah,
absolutely. But let's get into some more fun stuff here. Thiago, right?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, come on, this guy just stripped sex. I mean, second half was pretty absolutely phenomenal. My biggest takeaway was how much better he made everybody around him. I mean, number one, he had more passes than any other Chelsea player in the entire game, and he only played 45 minutes. You know, he had 75 passes, which is a Premier League record for 45 minutes or less. But my biggest takeaway was two things. Gini Wijnaldum, I thought he played a pretty good first half. He played a phenomenal second half the moment Thiago was behind him. Same thing with Firmino. I think the moment when Milner came in and Thiago got to push up a little bit farther, that was some of the best Bobby creativity I've seen in a very, very long time. And he was so active. He was dangerous. And if we can unlock that Bobby again, like I'm literally getting pins and needles right now just thinking about it. Holy hell, we're going to see a lot of Bobby celebrations, a lot of the shirt coming off. It's going to get hot in here.
Yeah, I want to hear what homie has to say about Thiago.
Yeah, I thought it was amazing, you know, like it's like, look, I just felt like, I was saying at half time, Thiago needs to come on because he's the one that changed the game. And I think like, you saw what, we scored like 5 minutes of him coming on, you know, and his passing range is, you know, it was his pass that, his initial pass that set up the actual first goal in the first place. So I think that kind of eye-needed passing is what we needed, especially against low blocks. That's what we needed a Thiago for, someone who can control the game, penetrate it, and really just allow us to progress further up the pitch. So I thought he was like amazing for 45 minutes. He only had like 45-minute training, and he's put in that. It was like he'd been playing for years, and like I said it again, like. End of the season, he's going to be winning PFA Player of the Year and be seen as the best player in the Premier League. And he will be the one that guarantees us the double, the Champions League and the Premiership, because he's that good. And I think like once he gets used to a week of training, gets used to our style of football and used to England, we're going to see like the real Thiago. Because I think today, that's not even Thiago at his best.
Oh.
Anywhere near his best level. You know, he played better in the Champions League than he did today because there was a few balls that went astray. So I'm just so glad we got him. You know, I can't say any more than that. Like,
you're like a little kid on Christmas right now.
It's
Look
surreal,
at you,
man. It's so surreal.
I do. I feel like that, like a kid in a candy store, because I'm just like, Thiago, my God.
I haven't seen you stop smiling since you started talking about him. Jesus, I love it. But Alex, what did you think of? I mean, obviously it was, you know, he's a world-class player. He's going to be great. But I mean, what were some of your takeaways from his first 45? I mean, he didn't even train with the team at all. When he trained, it was more by himself. I mean, what did you think?
I mean, there are some things you can train and some things that you obviously can't. And that you know, the class and composure he has on the ball is just amazing. But I think what you were saying about Bobby is the most telling thing here. I mean, you mentioned how Thiago can make everybody around him better. And the thing with him that stands out to me is he can set the tempo so well, but so much of our attack, especially against low blocks, is, you know, derived from good interchanging, good spatial recognition, etc. And he holds onto the ball for the right amount of time at the right times to allow those little interchanges to go. And, you know, Bobby is the master of creating and exploiting those spaces. And I think, you know, I look beyond just this game. I think about the way that Minamino has evolved into that same role. And then I think about now having a proper backup wing option in Diogo Jota. And it feels to me like when Thiago's on the pitch, we've got so many of the right moving pieces going forward to really, really take advantage of his skill set. And, you know, like what Homie was saying, he didn't directly create the first goal, but it did stem from his decision-making and the ability to get the ball to the right guys in the right situations at the right time. He could well be a PFA Player of the Year candidate at the end of the year with, you know, fewer than 5 goal contributions. Yeah. And that speaks volumes about he's immensely talented, but more importantly, he's got the skill set to get the absolute best out of everybody around us in the system. And it's just, yeah, it's a pretty exciting prospect. And it was so surreal seeing him step out there today for real.
Yeah. You know, I saw his stats last year from the Bundesliga, and I think he had 0 goals and 1 assist or something like that. But, you know, he affected every game that he was a part of.
Yeah.
You know, he's just one of those guys.
Yeah, there were a couple passes today that reminded me. I used to play hockey with a group of guys, one of whom was incredibly talented, and you get so mesmerized watching that you forget that you're involved in the play, and all of a sudden the puck arrives on your stick. And there were a couple passes where the guys on the receiving end, it was like, holy shit, how did that find me? You could tell they weren't expecting it. And once that chemistry builds, it's going to be on another level. I mean, yeah, God, what a fucking talent, man. How lucky are we?
Once he came into the team in the second half, he immediately was like every player wanted to pass him the ball, like right away. And for me, it's like the signing of Thiago is very similar, if not exactly the same, as when we signed Virgil van Dijk and when we signed Alisson Becker. It literally, like when we signed those two players, it brought a calmness to our defense. Now, I think the same effect is going to happen to our midfield now that Thiago is in that midfield.
Yeah.
He just brings that. It's like, all right, everybody relax. He knows where everybody is on the pitch at all times. Yeah. He can just take a look, bam, cross to the left to Robertson right away. Like a quick switch is no problem for him. So
yeah, it doesn't have to look either. That's the best
part. He doesn't
part.
have to look. He does the Bobby no look. It's ridiculous.
Oh yeah,
it's ridiculous.
The one thing I love about Thiago, did you guys see the video clip of him celebrating with Milner? Like he pressed Keita, Kanté into kicking the ball out. Like determination's like yes.
He loves it. He's like, yeah, that's right, baby. It's all on you. Hell yeah. No, that was I literally had that written down. I had that play. And then when Christensen brought down Mane, there's a clip of him of Thiago on the sidelines. And I was just like, and like sometimes as the new guy, you don't always get involved with that right away, but you can tell instantly he's involved. The team loves him. And Andrew, you said it exactly right, especially before Milner came on when he was more sitting in that 6. If anybody on the defense had the ball, it was instantly going to him every single time. And I also wrote this down. And I know it's already in another song, but I just said "calm as you like?" ? Because when he touches the ball, it is so graceful. And he's just just nice and smooth. Everything's calm and composed, and we haven't had a guy like that in the midfield probably since Alonso, who was just so calm and he could just hit a pass anywhere. So it's just another way we're going to beat you, and it's Thiago, guys.
I think that's the key thing about him, the fact that even in the Champions League final, he always wants the ball. Like when everyone else is losing their head, he wants the ball. And as soon as you back off from him, he's play a pass that takes out 5 players. And that's the thing about him. Like he's a leadership in terms of possession of the ball and composure, and that's, as you said, it's going to bring so much to our midfield, Andrew.
Well, go ahead.
Oh, sorry, man. No, I was just gonna say, going back to what Homie had said about our ability to win without Henderson, and that might be a result that maybe falters before. I hate talking about intangibles, but the leadership that Thiago instantly brought, despite this being his first appearance for this club, he's the guy who exudes a very similar energy to what Henderson has. And, nobody can do exactly what Henderson does on field or off it, but he made sure that he was the standard bearer the second he stepped in there. And that goes a long way. And having that as a secondary option, Fabinho, as far as skill set goes, can do a lot in Henderson's stead, but I don't see anybody else in the midfield bar, maybe Milner, who's going to be a bit player this year, who can hold people accountable the same way Henderson does. But it looks very much to me like Thiago can be that guy as well.
Yeah, 100%. No, the leadership qualities are there. And I mean, there's a reason why he's won over 20, trophies in his career. I mean, he's always been surrounded by greatness, but he brings out the greatness in other people. But there was one instance today where, he did mess up a little bit, but us savvy people know that, I actually had the privilege when I was streaming it today. It was Martin Tyler and Carragher and Neville. And Carragher spent maybe about 5 minutes just ripping Alisson, saying, he's been like Mignolet the last 10 games. He hasn't been making the saves that he's supposed to be making. So Thiago heard all of that, purposely fouled Werner in the box so Alisson can make a PK save just to get his confidence up a little bit. It's to show everybody, hey, he's still elite. There's a reason why he's gotten a couple of gold gloves. But honestly, when it came to that PK, like, it was kind of soft. I think it was a little bit of a dive by Werner, but hell of a fucking save by Alisson.
Yeah, I think that was Jorginho's first miss in the Premier League. I know he missed in the FA Cup, but I think that's his first miss in the Premier League. And I mean, he's great at penalty kicks, and the fact that Alisson saved that is definitely going to boost his confidence. We got a clean sheet as well, so that definitely helps as well.
Yeah, 'cause I think he made comments as well. Apparently, that he was saying that how he's been feeling down, low in confidence since the Community Shield. He didn't save any
Yeah.
penalties. So
Yeah, he did.
in
He did
that,
a post-match like interview, and he on LFC TV, and he mentioned that he was pretty disappointed in himself at the Community Shield when he didn't make a save in the penalties. So I think this definitely makes up for that, man. 100%.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well, I was reading somewhere that since the West Ham game last year, his save percentage is round about where Kepa's has been. And so I imagine for someone like, I mean, yeah, you just said, all right, fuck it, this is over. And I seldom do this, but I do have to give a nod to Ederson, actually. It's the other keeper to stop Jorginho. It was during that FA Cup shootout you talked about. And, he's got that, I can't stand the technique, the one Bruno Fernandes uses too, with the little hop, skip, and a jump. But Ederson exposed it. If you just wait,
he
he shits himself. Yeah, and so Alisson did the exact same thing, and lo and behold, so credit where credit's due. A little bit of a book on the shooter from his compatriot, but yeah, great save. And parlayed it into a really nice save off Abraham that I think maybe would have been brought back for offside anyway. But he looked very much like the Alisson that we know and love and remember, and hopefully this spins into something even more.
Yep.
Yeah, it was a hell of a save, and honestly, I think it was exactly what he needed. And like now that we have Thiago in there, it's just going to be everyone's confidence is going to be high. And we got to mention Mane too. Mane was pretty spectacular. I think if you take him off the field, Fabinho is probably the man of the match. Fabinho is probably still my man of the match, just because I think Werner's still in his pocket. But what did you guys think of Mane's performance? I mean, I haven't seen him press that hard in a long time, and I was so happy that he got rewarded for it.
I'll go. Okay. I thought like through preseason we were saying that how Mane's shooting boots he lost his shooting boots.
Yes,
So it was good. It was good to see him get it back. I did say it as well. Like I expected him to score one goal. I didn't expect him to, but one goal because like I thought he's a man for big occasions. Normally Mane, and he didn't disappoint. And like I said, he pressed so hard today. It was tracking back, full of energy. Like Chelsea, he gave Reece James like a torrid day. He couldn't handle him.
Yeah.
And I was so close to saying like Reece James come outside because I saw that Reece James scored the other day. All the Chelsea fans were saying Trent come outside. And I was like, so it was good to see Mane back, and I think he needed that to get his confidence back. And so it was good to see him smiling, happy at the end of the game. So he was phenomenal today, Mane. It was good.
Well, homie, didn't you say that he was going to score too?
Yeah, I had him down as one of my people. Him and Bobby.
Yeah, you both did. I think you and Steven both did.
I took Bobby to score, I think, not Mane, unfortunately.
Yeah.
But I'm going to keep saying Bobby until he scores, and then one time he'll be right.
Yeah. No, it's this very easily, had he not been the goal scorer, this could have been one of those games, sort of like the Barcelona second leg, where he never gets on the score sheet, yet he stands out a mile above everyone else. And that's what I still love about Sadio Mane. And that's not to say that the others on the pitch can't have the same effect, but so much of the stuff he did today was the unheralded work, the dirty work, and it was great to see him rewarded for it. And coming off a game where Salah was probably put in one of his best performances in Liverpool shirt, and eyes are going to be focused there. That's always going to be a case. And as long as we can keep opposition focus shifting back and forth between the two of them, how on earth do you mark both of them out of the game? And if you do, then we got this shiny new toy in midfield who can pick you apart anyway. So Shaping up well.
Yeah, I think we all need to just take a moment and just appreciate occasionally how great our front three is. The fact that Salah got 2 golden boots in consecutive years. Mane got a golden boot last year, or I guess 2 years ago now. But these guys are just absolutely phenomenal. I don't think we've seen the amount of goals that these guys have given us in a long time. You just gotta just tip your cap to them sometimes. They're absolutely phenomenal.
Yeah, and I think that Salah's first seasons, I seriously doubt ever going to be matched. But I think people do get a little bit too fixated on the statistical output, and the reality is, the goal scoring numbers have dropped from him as a prime example since then. But look at the team's output. So he's gone from being strictly a goals and assists guy to being just such an integral part of a system that's put together two of the most dominant campaigns in English and European history. So if you score a little bit less, but we're putting up 97 and 99 points and back-to-back Champions League finals and all that stuff, I'm not going to complain.
Yeah,
I was going to change that. So I was going to change that for both of them.
Yeah.
Exactly right. But no, it's what's awesome about our front three, and especially with having guys like Salah and Mane out in the wings is, and I think I've probably said this like 10,000 times already, but it's so true. You know, with our flexibility and with our style of play now, we can literally beat you 5, 6, 7 different ways. You know, we can beat you, you know, like we used to, going through Robertson and Trent and having them whipping crosses. We can find Mane and Salah over the top and just let them turn and burn you. Now with Thiago, we're going to have that Coutinho, Firmino, you know, combination that we haven't had in 3 years. And we even got flashes of, you know, Netherlands version of Gini Wijnaldum today. So I
like that guy.
When you think about it, it's like, especially when Thiago came on, like Chelsea was kind of just like sitting back and playing more of a low block because they had 10 guys. I'm just sitting there, I'm salivating. I'm just like, this is beautiful. You guys cannot touch this. Like, oh my God, it's sorry. I get rock solid sometimes and I can't stop.
And we've got Jota as well to come. So,
and Jota, yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And so and now we have that guy off the bench where it's like, oh, we're not scoring. Oh, we can bring him on if Mane or Salah are tired. We're not going to miss a beat. So
I think we have to see the best of Minamino as well. You know, once we go to the 4-2-3-1 formation, we'll see the best of Minamino. I don't think he works in 4-3-3.
Yeah, I think he can. I just think I'd love to see him and Bobby in the same formation. But I said before, this is my bold proclamation for the year. If Minamino finds his feet well enough to kind of cut into Bobby's playing time and let him play more fresh than he has in years past, I think we see closer to the 17-18 Bobby. I think 20 to 30 goal contributions in all competitions, easy. Because when Bobby's sharp, he's absolutely unplayable. And just one more thing for the opposition to worry about. And, you know, for me, Taki's shown he could be a really, really capable deputy in that spot.
No, that's a good point you brought up too about resting him, because he has been, I think he's been in the top 2 or top 3 most capped players since Klopp took over. So it's not surprising. Like we do rely on him a lot, and Minamino has again given us some glimpses that he can, you know, kind of take on a little bit of that weight for him. But one of the things I did want to get into about, so the one thing I wanted to talk about Chelsea was the 2 new signings with Werner and Havertz. I thought Havertz did nothing in the first 45 minutes. Obviously didn't play in the second half. He's looking way off the pace. Werner, on the other hand, I thought Andrew texted me, I think 3 times in the beginning of the match saying his pace is going to be a problem. His pace is going to be a problem. And it definitely is going to be. I mean, at times he looked good. He just literally went up against a guy who literally was on his day today in Fabinho. And again, like I keep saying, having the back pocket, he had no room to breathe the moment he got close to that box. And the high line did concern me. Fabinho's pace concerned me, but it's going to take him some time to adjust. He did miss that sitter. You know, if that was Firmino, we'd still be hearing about it. I know he was offsides, but that was a bad miss. You know, he had a pretty good chance with his left foot, and you know, they still have a lot more pieces to come in, but Werner looks positive, but Havertz, not so much.
Yeah, I think it's just going to take Havertz a little bit of time to get integrated into the Premier League. I mean, that price tag alone is going to put something in his head. We've seen similar things with Naby Keita. It's taken him a long time to adjust. But, I mean, if I were a Chelsea fan, I wouldn't really be that worried about it. I think Werner looks pretty damn good for the most part. And I think you're missing one huge piece of the puzzle, and that's Christian Pulisic. I mean, if he was on the left today, Liverpool would have had a lot of problems. That's why I'm so happy that he wasn't playing. I think today was the best time to play Chelsea. But once they get all of their pieces together, they're going to be a pretty solid squad, and they're definitely going to be a reputable force.
And I also think they're missing Ziyech. I think he's a very good player. Yeah. I think I agree with what you're saying. Yeah, I think it's going to take them time to adapt. You know, especially when you come with big price tags, people expect you to hit instantly, and it just takes players time. But I think Mr. already said it. Like Chelsea, just in a different transition period right now.
Yep.
You know, it's going to take them time for all this players to gel and to click in. And so I think just for Chelsea fans, just need to be patient. Liverpool at a different development stage compared to them.
Yeah, next time we play them, it's going to be a much different feeling. That's for sure.
Yeah.
But let's close it out. Who's everyone's man of the match? I think it's going to be one or two people. But what do you guys think?
Fabinho.
Yeah, I think it's Fabinho too. I think Matt. I think they actually for the actual game they said it was Mane, but I just think Fabinho. I mean, no one expected him to start in that role. Hell of a fucking job today. We needed it. Definitely got it. But that pretty much wraps up this episode. 6 points out of 6 possible points to get. We got Lincoln City coming this week, and then Arsenal on the weekend. We'll be back. Obviously, we'll make sure we give you guys some content midweek. But hey, Alex, thanks so much for coming on, man. Loved the insight that you provided. But once again, where can everybody find you? And any last words to say to everybody?
No, just if you'd like somebody who yells at people on Twitter, come find me. I'm just happy to get the opportunity to some real faces about this stuff, and cheers to the start of hopefully another incredible Red season, man.
Hell yeah, baby. Well, homie, Andrew, any last words for all the Red men out there?
Up the Reds.
Enjoy it. Enjoy this time, because it's a good time to be a Red.
Great time.
Well, I love Thiago. That's what I'm going to leave you guys with. Check us out next time, and don't forget that like and subscribe button below. Do us a huge favor. One simple click. We love you guys. I really appreciate you guys continuing to follow us, but we will see you later this week. Have a good night.
Cheers.